Hello again, my dear students. I hope everyone is doing fine. Let us study the Vedic Age, chapter 5 of our history textbook, page number 47 to 49. We shall discuss the dawn of the New Age, the coming of the Aryans, the Vedas, and the early Vedic Age. The dawn of a new age. The end of the Indus Valley civilization around 1500 BCE saw the birth of a new culture. This period is often called the Vedic Age, as the Vedas were composed during this time. The Vedic Age is also the age of the epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. We get a lot of information about the life of the people of this period from these books. The coming of the Aryans. The Vedic Age was characterized by the coming of the Aryans. Some historians believe that the Aryans were cattle herders from Central Asia who migrated to India looking for pastures. The group of Aryans who settled in India are known as the Indo-Aryans. Historians believe that they spoke Sanskrit and entered India in batches, the earliest being around 1500 BCE. Some historians believe that the Aryans were not foreigners but the descendants of the Harappan people, as there were some similarities in the religious practices of both these groups. Though there is no clear theory on their origin, we know that the Aryans made a significant contribution to our culture. They initially settled in the Sapta Sindhu, the land of 7 rivers region, which included the eastern parts of present-day Afghanistan, Punjab and parts of Uttar Pradesh. Later, they spread to other regions. The Vedas. The Sanskrit word Veda means wisdom or knowledge. The Vedas are the oldest sacred texts of the Hindus and are the primary source of information about the Vedic Age. There are 4 Vedas: the Rig Veda, the Sama Veda, the Yajur Veda and the Atharva Veda. They were first composed verbally and transmitted orally from generation to generation. Later on, they were written in Sanskrit. The Brahmanas, the Aryankas, the Upanishads, and the epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, were also composed during this period. All these books are collectively known as Vedic literature. The Vedic Age has been broadly divided into 2 phases. The early Vedic Age, 1500 BCE to 1000 BCE, and the later Vedic Age, 1000 BCE to 600 BCE. Now we shall learn the early Vedic Age.
In this module, you will learn about Vedic literature and the main features of the early Vedic age. The word Veda denotes knowledge. The Vedas are regarded as one of the oldest literary sources in the world. The Rig Veda, Samveda, Yajur Veda and Atharva Veda are the 4 parts of the Vedas. The Rig Veda has more than 1,000 slokas called suktas. The verses in the Vedas are written in praise of the gods such as Agni, Indra and Soma. The Vedas, also known as Shruti, were part of the oral traditions which have been handed down for centuries by word of mouth. The priests preserved the text by chanting Vedas as part of their daily lives and taught them to the beginners very systematically. The Vedic culture has been shaped by the rules relating to performance of yagnas found in the Yajur Veda and the Atharva Veda, and by the spiritualism found in the Upanishads. This culture was written down after a few centuries. This period of the beginning of written tradition is known as the historic period. Numerous battles fought between the various tribes of the Vedic times are found in the Vedas. One of the tribes named Bharata had settled in the land between Satadru in East Punjab and river Yamuna. Later, this area was called Aryavarta and the people called themselves Aryans. Arya means noble or respectable. King Sudasa of Bharata tribe was one of the most prominent leaders mentioned in the Vedas. He defeated an alliance of 10 tribes in the northwestern quarter. Among these 10 tribes, the Purus was the most powerful tribe. However, their king, Purakutsa, died in the battle. While the tribes Bharata and Puru were unconscious, the fertile Ganga-Yamuna land earlier occupied by the Bharata tribe was captured by the Kurus. Along with the conflicts between the tribes, the Vedic times also witnessed conflicts between communities. The Aryans would unitedly fight against Dasas and Dasyus. Dasas had herds of cattle and lived in areas inside forts, which they called Pura. Indra, famous for many battles, had destroyed hundreds of such forts. The Panes community was also another community against the Aryans. They used to have constant conflicts with the Vedic class. They frequently captured the cattle of the Aryans. Hence, many prayers in the Vedas were for more cattle, as also more sons and horses. The people waged battles in order to win more and more herds of cattle, and also to control grazing land for their cattle. The people believed that if they pleased the gods, they could become owners of unbelievable wealth. Hence, they offered part of their wealth earned in the battles during yagnas. During the Vedic times, communities were distinguished by their professions. The Brahmins engaged themselves in Vedic rituals, the Kshatriyas assumed leadership during battles, and the Vishayas engaged themselves in agriculture, animal husbandry, and trade. Along with these three varnas, Shudras were the fourth varna in the end of Rig-Vedic period. The leaders that were seen during the Vedic times did not resemble the kings of later times. They carried on the administration using the contribution given by the people and the wealth seized during battles. These leaders had organizations called the Sabha and the Samiti to advise them on administrative matters. The Sabha was a broad representation of the people, whereas the Samiti was a political organization with few people engaged in specific administrative tasks. The basic unit of administration was the village, and the Gramini was its head. A group of villages was called Vish, and the Vishayapati was its head. Many Vishayas came together to form a Jana, or kingdom. This was ruled by a king who would be called Raja, Rajan, or Gopa. The king was assisted by the Purohit, Senani, and Gramini in administration. The post of Purohit was usually held by rishis who would play the role of a teacher, guide, and philosopher to the king. Senani was the head of the army. There were republics too during the Vedic period. Those who ruled over vast empires were called emperors. These emperors were referred to by different names like Virat, Ikrat, or Sarvarat. Let us now recap all the important points that we have covered in this module on the Vedic Age.